Biafra, superstars, media.
A human being being sliced into two. Can you imagine such a thing? Biafra is going to emerge as a nation. Despite the support of Britain, Russia, Egypt, and some other friends of Nigeria, we all will surely come out as a nation because we are fighting a just cause. Even a little child on the street will tell you this. We shall never go back to Nigeria again. God's grace will surely emerge as a nation. And so, as far as this war continues, we'll fight to the last man.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Biafra, Superstars Media. Today, I wish to present to you a man who saw the war firsthand, a man who as a child, he went through Kwashoko, a man who as a child, when the Red Cross gave them soup, when they gave them the Gare Gabon and soup, this child was taking the food to his parents in the bushes. When he met the Nigerian soldiers, take the soup off him, drank the soup in his presence, and gave him the gari to take to his family in the bush. A man whose father was killed during the war, a man whose mother and sister met their demise during the war, a man who saw in first hand people losing fingers, those they suspect they were Biafran soldiers. If you're a young child from the age of 16 upwards, 3 of your fingers will be cut off. The one they call the trigger finger will be chopped off. That way they grant you and make you become useless in life. A man who saw all this, a man who himself went through Kwashoko, until this day, he is going through the trauma of seeing the Biafran war. Today, this afternoon, tonight, I wish to present to you all a man I have come to love, a man I appreciate, and a man I shall be sharing this platform with going forward. I present to you the Biafran Golden Child. I call this man the Biafran Golden Child because he was there during the Biafran War. He was a child during the Biafran War. He was one of those who had Kwashoko during the Biafran War. He was somebody that ate rat for protein during the Biafran War. And he's a man who is here to give the account, to speak on our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, on the continuous incarceration of our leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Biafran Golden Child, the real Biafran Golden Child. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear listeners. I'm happy to once again be in a position to make this audio courtesy of Biafra Superstar Media. Please grant me your audience. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. An Igbo proverb says, a person who is denied by others cannot deny himself or herself. Yes. On June 19, 2024, Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made an appearance in the Zoo Court and publicly stated that he is fighting for the good of humanity, especially for the African people. Quote, "We are fighting for freedom. We want people to be free," he said. He reiterated that he is not just fighting for Biafra, but also for the common good of Africa. The common enemy has been identified. The common enemy of, Nigeria, yes, of the Biafra land has been identified. George Orwell called it Animal Farm. Our leader, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu called it the zoo. Chinua Achebe called it, our veteran writer and one-time Biafran ambassador, Chinua Achebe, calls it things fall apart. Yes, these are different names for a common enemy, the British. There are so many reasons why the Igbos are hated in Nigeria, but the British set the ball rolling. Yes. Yeah, some people say why the Igbos are hated is because the Igbo standard of excellence is primarily represented in business and academic achievement. Others argue that the Igbos are hated because they are the richest tribe in Nigeria, if not in the West African regions as a whole. Yes, but the most invisible hate, the most invisible hate group against the Biafra movement is the British. Yes, the British. And now we know why our Prime Minister, the ever trusted and revered man, Simon Ekpa, chose the month of December as our Liberation Day. Yes, the Anglo-Irish white people went through hell with the British government before they finally declared their independence on December 6, 1921. The Anglo-Irish people were united and they spoke with one voice. They are a free nation today. Yes, a free nation today. A record mass is scheduled on December 2nd, 2024 for Nigeria. Yes. So um, uh, Simon Ekwa, of course, he's a Finnish citizen, and he knows the history of the Irish people, and he knows that their history and especially their domination by the British then, and all the sufferings and frustrations they went through, is akin with what is happening in Biafra land now in our eastern region. Yes, well, that's why he chose December 2nd, 2024, as the day is declaring the Biafran Republic. So let's go on. Yes. Unbeknownst to the world is the fact that we have a clandestine affair with the British. That's why today some foreign nationals are puzzled when they hear us accuse the British government of hankering to impoverish the people of Biafra. But their wicked plan has backfired. Today, the Kingdom of Britain, which used to be known as the Great Britain, is no more. Her wicked offspring, Nigeria, that it aided and abetted in dealing with the Biafrans during 1967-1970, has also been dealt with by the same catastrophic fate. Yes, currently, the latter is on life support. Yes, Nigeria is on life support. Yeah, people must reap what they sow. Yes, yeah. Because the British behavior is of paradoxical nature, that's to say that it gives you a cut and at the same time it blows the wound to decrease the pain, to make you believe that it cares. Yes, that's Things Fall Apart. Things Fall Apart is a good example of how much the British hated Biafra with a passion. A very good case study is that of our leader's perpetual detention in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu is a citizen of Britain who was extraordinarily renditioned back to the zoo called Nigeria. Even after Nnamdi Kanu has been discharged and acquitted of all charges against him, he is still being illegally detained with all forms of delayed tactics. Now, that's the greatest travesty of justice ever known to mankind. Don't be fooled. When a Biafran becomes a British citizen, don't be fooled because he's a British citizen. Don't be fooled by a fiendish smile, because there's always a hidden agenda behind the smile. The answer to why the British hate Biafra is not far-fetched. The hidden hatred dates back to the fight for independence and the role played by our notable Igbos of our past, starting from the time of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and then finally other notable Igbos like Mbano Ojike, who fought hard to ensure that the British was expelled out of Nigeria. The British was seen as a bully of all humankind. She loved being in control, and her obsession to control the world was such that she would trample on anyone's rights to achieve what she wanted. The end justifies the means was her mantra. The British couldn't stand any individual or any group of people with a mind of their own. The Igbo tradition is a contrast to other African cultures, and when the British met her match, she vowed to suppress and to cow the Igbo people into submission. The Biafra people were not cowards, and they stood their ground. While other tribes genuflected before the royal family, the Biafra people stood still, facing them as equals, because the Igbo man has no king, no bully as a leader, bows to nobody except God. They couldn't submit themselves to any human domination or manipulation. The Igbo behavior ran shivers down the spine of the British government. Yes. And that was where the hatred developed from. Said, oh, these people, you think you are too smart? We are going to make sure we frustrate this smartness. We'll put you where you belong. That was what the British promised to do to the Igbo people. Those who hate people for no reason other than their own personal detestation will destroy themselves. Yes. Think about the Turkish lawmaker who said that Israel will suffer the wrath of God. God immediately took revenge while he was still speaking. We all know what happened to him. The Prime Minister of Israel, our ancestral brother, once mentioned Biafra struggles in one of his speeches and has our conflicts on his radar. Like our ancestors of Israel, we are surrounded by enemies and we must guard our lives at all times. God has given us our own Joshua in the person of our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa. Knowing the pedigree of our people, we must stand united to confront our enemies, both foreign and domestic. United we stand, divided we fall. We must all put all our differences aside, because those who want us dead are driving a wedge between us and disorganizing our unity. We want our leader out of the dungeon of the DSS. We must support Simon Ekpa. A saying goes, you cannot resemble what has been used to disparage you. All the Northerners speak with one voice, and all the Southwesterners speak with one voice. But the Southeasterners and the South don't. The time is now to speak with one voice, not in dissimilar voices. By the grace of God, our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, will declare the restoration of Biafra on December 2nd, 2024, and with a resounding victory we will never forget. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, our very good brother. The Biafran Golden Child will say a big thank you. Thank you for the submission. All I want to say at this point, my people, is this. Our leader, Mazi Simon Ekpa, told the Zoo government, he told Nigeria that we shall make holding Nnamdi Kanu more expensive than releasing him. He proclaimed live on air that the Biafra Republic government in exile, with our actions and inactions, we shall make the kidnapping and continuous holding of Nnamdi Kanu more expensive than releasing him. Today, I want to declare that the prophecy of our Prime Minister has come to pass. Because all over the whole social media, all over the airways, what you hear about is the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Those who kept quiet for the past 3 years, those who saw our leader languish in the hands of the DSS for the past 3 years, those who saw even what their judiciary was doing. The woman they called Justice Binta Nyako, you saw the way she was fidgeting, dilly-dallying, shilly-shallying, perambulating, wasting the time of our leader Nnamdi Kanu, making the pronouncement to the DSS to give him access to his clothing. And when she's being rebuked by the DSS, she does nothing about it. Nobody is being reprimanded. Our leader was left in the hands of this enemy for 3 years. And it was all sweet. People were happy. They were clamoring for him to remain in jail for life. The then AGF, Malami, came out and made a broadcast in his native language. Last time I heard the official language of that zoo called Nigeria was English. But suddenly, the Attorney General of the Federation of that zoo called Nigeria was making a broadcast in his native language, describing how they so-called intercepted Nnamdi Kanu and brought him to Nigeria in his own native language, a so-called Attorney General. They were embellishing the facts. They thought Biafra was dead. They thought kidnapping just one man meant the end of Biafra. They assumed that wasting those billions, conniving with those they call the DOS, those who were close to Nnamdi Kanu, they assumed that the moment they pay him off to sell out our leader, that was the end of Biafra. Unknown to them that there was a man before our leader was kidnapped. There was a man he told the 80 million Biafrans to listen to. There was a man he told us to share his videos. There was a man he told us was coming with a new dimension. A dimension higher than the dimension that our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, was operating on. They never knew because they assumed that Nnamdi Kanu was the Alpha and Omega of Biafra. They've assumed that the weight of Biafra lies on the back of Oyendo. And once he's kidnapped, that was the end of Biafra. Even a so-called politician from the so-called Southeast, during a campaign, he was asked a question. And he went as far as saying that Biafra is dead. Biafra died 80 or 50 years ago. That man, what he said was despicable. They assumed kidnapping Nnamdi Kanu was the end of Biafra. But I've got news for them. Because in our leader, Mazi Simon Ekpa, our prime minister, a man who was delegated to do the job he's doing, a man who has the ears, the mind of the people, a man who was assigned by the people, a man who was given a delegated responsibility to go out there, form a government, form a cabinet, come with policies, come with a framework that will get us Biafra in the absence of Oyendo Nnamdi Kanu. And so far, so good. The journey has been good. And by the grace of God, God willing, on the 2nd of December, oh Lord have mercy, the world will hear about Biafra. The world will hear about the rebirth of Biafra. God willing, from the 2nd of December, they can hold Nnamdi Kanu, but they cannot hold Biafra. They can kidnap Nnamdi Kanu, but they cannot kidnap Biafra. They can try to stop Nnamdi Kanu, but they can never stop Biafra. Let them do what they want to do. Allow the dead to bury the dead. Give what belongs to Caesar and to God to God. This is the best time you can interpret such. Allow Nigerians to do what they want to do, while we, the Biafrans, we handle our own business. We ain't gonna fidget. We will not be distracted by this news about the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Let them do what they want to do. All we know, according to your own court, they said Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer. According to your own court, they said it should be released. According to your own court, he was discharged. And they said no case should be brought on our leader Nnamdi Kanu. So allow the zoo to be the zoo. Let the dead bury the dead. As for me and my people, we shall continue to keep our eyes on the rising sun. As for me and my people, we shall keep the focus on Biafra. As for me and my people, we shall keep on fighting towards the restoration of Biafra. As for me and my people, we shall show all our solidarity to our Prime Minister, His Excellency, Mazi Ekpa Simon Njoku. As for me and my people, It's all about Biafra. As for me and my people, we are getting ready to march side by side, shoulder to shoulder with our leader, Mazi Simon Ekpa. As for me and my people, the topic should be all about the 2nd of December. As for me and my people, it's all about discussing with the lobbies we have in America, the two great men, Jim Moran and the other good guy, Elias Geresolis. They are the ones to discuss in terms of diplomacy. But the days of dialoguing is done. We dialoguing with Nigeria is done. End of discussion. We are moving towards Biafra, and God willing, from the 2nd of December, we shall be in Biafra. From me, from here, for now, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I remain yours truly, Biafra, Superstars Media. God bless you.
Simon Ipanjoko. Gas na sopurugi.
And then
retire 2014, but Biafra. We are in Biafra. And you know na Biafra.
yes.
Ndị niile gị na ha na-arụ ọrụ, ndị niile nọ na-eme ihe niile kemgbe agara m rehapụtala kemgbe kama ahụ adịghị nne m. Mụ na nne m anọgide na California ma eburu ya n'ụlọ ya gawa gakwuru okike ya ma lọghachi n'afọ a. Oke mmadụ enwe m okwu achọkwanụ m kama achọ m ka ị mara na ịbụ Chineke. You are God. You are. Do you understand that? You are God. And the other gods you work with. I don't expect anything in life. I deal with whatever I see as I see it.
Yes.
I didn't think. I didn't put it into perspective, into any type of perspective. Seeing today.
Yes.
And that I'm seeing today, I'm experiencing today. Ozuorum, I am content.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, my Prime Minister, there is no name under the earth that fits you. There is no name. Chineke abarakwala no wede ho. Njoko. Onye kwana na aga close to Njoko ya fokwa ibitu ya aka. Njoko.
Thank you. So right, I continue from there and.